So guess what today is? That's right. Today is the day that we got the DJI FPV HD system. Really excited. You know, just, again, can't stop saying excited. But here she be. Not going to do a huge unboxing, but I will for posterity. Because I do think this is the beginning of a fantastic time in our industry, in our hobby, that we will open her out. Alrighty, let me get this out of here. So we've got air unit, we've got the transmitter, and we have the goggles. So in a minute, I'm actually gonna hop on over to get this stuff out of the box. We're gonna talk a little bit about how I came to choose the frame. I think we've got a pretty good solution. I say we, I got some ideas for a bunch of people, but I really think we've got a good solution to get, you know, both offset the weight and, which is really, this isn't all that big. I'm gonna show you with the calipers, it's just not all that big when you think about it. But we've got a good system. So I'll walk you through my build. We'll talk a little bit about how I configured it in Betaflight, and then we're gonna go out and fly. So I'll see you in just a second. All right, here we are. It is a Marmotte. So this used to be a rig I had. I had the Bardwell stack in here, running the Jeff Orta Vortex, the 2207, 2600 kV motors. I actually had, you know, I had the Evo and I had the Crossfire in here. But now that since I've standardized on the Bandoleros, which running Crossfire and the Evo's on there too, I was going to use the Bandolero. It fits perfect, but I just would have had to lift it, and there's 3 different size standoffs. I didn't have them all. So my buddy Justin said, man, it looks like that Bandolero is going to fit pretty perfect right back in there. And he's correct. I mean, if you take... All right, just for a point of clarification there, I just said the Bandolero would fit in the back of a Marmotte. It does not. There is no way for it to fit in the back of a Marmotte, although these Bandoleros are incredible. I love these rigs. I also said that the Vortex motors were 2600 kV. They're not. They're 2650. So back to regular scheduled programming. And if you take a look at, you know, where these mounting holes are, you know, there's plenty of room, and there's no middle standoffs on the Marmotte. The problem was, let me move these wires out of the way. The problem was is that the 30 by 30 stack, you know, there's plenty of room in here, but it would have butted right up against it. I wouldn't have been able to get the ESC in. I would have had to put individual ESCs. So it was just going to be a problem. However, the Marmotte offers 20 by 20 mounting stacks way up front. What a great feature. So what I did was I actually just moved the stack up. I got a 20 by 20 stack, which is the Speedix G25. That's a BL Heli 32-bit ESC 25 amp, which should be plenty. If you have any questions, there's a Bardwell video on, you know, running a 25 amp ESC with these 5-inch and these motors. It's going to be fine. And then this is the CLRacing Talon V4, sorry, the Talon F4 V2, which actually has the harness for the ESC, plugs right in, worked out perfect. Didn't have to do much. I had to put a 14 gauge XT60 on there. It's a little tough getting it in the center of that ESC, but we got it done. Everything works great. Had to extend the motor wires a little bit since I'm not going to put new motors on this right now. And then, yeah, I mean, I'm just excited because that actually fits perfect. Well, we're going to mount it in just a second. I didn't do a complete build. You guys know how to put motors on. This is just really a kind of how I fit the DJI HD FPV feed in here. So I have this Brain 3D. This is a nice mount I had for my Axie stubby and when I was running my XSR with Forever tubes. However, I believe, we're going to find out in a second, I can just slice these, mount it in the back, and then run those antennas out at that 45-degree angle. We'll see how reception is, and I'm sure it's going to be fine, but we'll see how that mounting option works. And yeah, I'm actually going to keep the GoPro mount. This is one that I printed. It actually came out really nice. I'm going to print, keep this mounted. so I can actually compare some of the footage with the GoPro. Look, I don't think this, well, actually I know it's not going to replace my GoPro. It's just not. However, I do want to compare the GoPro feed with the internal HD FPV feed, or the DVR feed, and see where it comes out. So this is how it stands today. Let's go get the box. Let's put it in here. We'll put some mounting tape, maybe zip tie it. We'll see. We're going to put a couple of standoffs here. I'm just going to put a couple of screws, tighten them down a little bit with a nut, and maybe, I don't know, I might put some UMA grip in there just so when it, if it slides forward or anything, hopefully it doesn't take out the stack. So actually I got that trick from another guy that was doing this with his rig. So thank you to him. I'd shout you out, but I'm not sure your name and I can't find the post. Anyway, that's it. Let's get the box, let's put it in, and we're gonna go fly this thing today, and we're gonna take a look at what this feed is like. I'm really excited. Again, don't expect this to replace all my rigs. Still gonna run my HDOs, still gonna run my Evo, and still gonna use Crossfire. But it's gonna be a lot of fun playing with this and see where this industry is going. So super excited. We'll see you in a second. All right, we're back. I actually got the unit in, pretty good with how it looks. So again, Armattan Marmotte frame, 20 by 20 stack, we just talked about. I actually promised you guys I'd show you kind of the dimensions, which, they're written down, but you're going to look at them in the real world. About 43.75 millimeters. And I believe it's about 37.75 millimeters wide. Think about the overall real estate I have to work with, roughly 96.5 millimeters full real estate in the frame. Camera's pretty small. I've got a weird little camera cover. But all in all, I think this unit's pretty good, considering it actually has my RX, my VTX, and a DVR in it. I mean, this form factor is just going to keep getting smaller. So I actually like the way it fits in here. Here are the wires. We're going to put this, we're going to actually start wiring this up. I've got my power and ground. I've got my my UART for my white, my gray, that's for my RX, that's for my VTX, back to the FC. And then I've got just a signal ground. I'm not even sure if I need that. And then this is actually going to go back. This is the DJI. This actually goes to the S-Bus. So this is going to be S-Bus, and in the future, as I mentioned, the DJI HDL protocol for Betaflight, which is coming in 4.1. So I'm actually going to run this out. I would normally cut it, but I'm not going to do that because I'm not sure what the configuration will be. So I'll run all these wires. I'll actually take the side plate off to get the camera in because since it is hardwired, which is a little bit of a pain in the rear. Yeah, it's only 2 screws. But still, you're used to just being able to snap that connector off and get the camera off. But, we'll see how it holds up. Maybe I'm not replacing as many cameras, although I don't replace that many cameras as it is now. What I did want to share with you is I really liked this. So the Brain 3D print, that actually works out pretty well. We'll see the length of it. I don't know how much, again, we'll just see how it works. And when then you look kind of inside, I just took them, swapped them over, and fed them through the holes. Hopefully you can see that. But man, this is a pretty clean build with that 20 by 20 stack and this mount. We'll see how it holds up in a crash, keeps it away from the props. I think we'll be okay. So let me go ahead and wire this up. Let me get the top plate on. I got to put 2 screws here just to protect that front stack. I'll as I mentioned, I probably put some UMA grip in there. Get that top plate on. I mean, this thing, let me show you how it looks when the top plate's on. I mean, this thing is slick. Whoops. It helps if I put it on correctly. So, and we'll secure these ESC wires. But all in all, that's a pretty lean build. You get the GoPro on there. We're going to check out the weight, too. I'm going to go get the scale. We're going to check some weight. And then we'll get this thing wrapped up and we'll get it flying. All right, bear back. All right, here we go. So we've got everything wired up. I'm just gonna put the straps, top plate on, and I think we're good to go. But I'll go over a couple of things. So I just put some foam tape underneath this. I had it running for a little bit while I was activating it. Doesn't get all that warm at all. But anyway, so this harness goes through. So the yellow is the S-bus. The brown is the ground. The white is actually going to be my my UART for my RX, which goes to the TX. The gray is the TX, which goes to the RX. And then I actually couldn't get VBAT, anything greater than a 5-volt, off the top. So I actually went directly to the battery. So both the red and the black from the connector, from the harness, actually go right to the VBAT underneath at the ESC. Everything works. I just tested it real quick to make sure everything was good. I mean, geez, this is a really clean build. I looked at the video. It is good. But again, I'm sitting on a bench, and you know, it's all well and good on the bench until we get out there and start flying. Yeah, so let's get the top plate on this. You know, I left all of this. I'd normally clean it up, as I said before, but I'm actually going to just tuck these in. The cool thing is if I don't want to use the transmitter, you know, I've got plenty of room in here to actually put a nano and run Crossfire. So, you know, I'm excited about this build in general. So let's get the top plate on. Let's get the straps on. Get the props on. Load the GoPro up. And I think we're good to go. Oh, the last thing I didn't do, but it'll be in there, is I actually got to take these screws. I'm actually going to mount those underneath. Let's see if I can get these underneath here. So I'm going to mount these underneath, back up through here. And then I'll bolt those down. So that'll kind of hold that in. I think that'll actually be nice to prevent it from sliding into the stack from a crash. All right, we're getting closer, guys. Next time you see this, it'll all be buttoned up. It'll have props on. You know, I'm not going to go through the linking process, but it was pretty easy. If you look at, you know, right in there, there is a small button that you actually have to hit. You hit the button on the goggles. You have to run through the DJI assistant, the activation process, and then they just link. And then all of a sudden I had video. I started playing with the menus. Maybe I'll do a separate one on that once I fly it for a little while and figure out what all of that does. That's it. All right, we're getting closer. Stay tuned. All right, real quick, let's go into Betaflight and do some of the configuration. This isn't meant to be a complete tutorial. Ladrib does a complete walkthrough of all of the options for Betaflight and how to connect, whether you're using the controller or not, the transmitter. I am going to use the DJI transmitter, so I'm just going to quickly walk through how you set this up and talk about that. So first off, I'm running 10.5.1 on Betaflight. I did flash earlier the CLRacing F4 Talon to the latest 4.0.5 CLRacing F4 target. So let's go ahead and connect. Real simple in here. Obviously, we have our quad. If I go to ports, one of the first things I'm going to do is I'm going to run the S-bus protocol. Now, I know in 4.1, DJI is going to be coming out with their own protocol for Betaflight, but until then, we're running the S-bus. So all we're doing is putting it on UART1. That's where I wired it, which is the S-bus pad on the CLRacing F4. Click Serial RX. Also, in order to get any OSD information like voltage, we're going to actually use UART4, which is the TX and RX4 pads on CLRacing. This is an MSP connection, so you can tell I didn't use any of the telemetry or peripheral tabs or drop downs. MSP runs like a USB. It's actually going to give me access to that OSD to be able to pull data. So again, UART4 running MSP, the S-bus is running on UART1. All right, in configuration, this ESC is a BL Heli 32, so I'm running D-Shot 1200. I'm also running 8 and 8 normal gyro and PID loop frequency. And that's really about it, other than checking off my serial-based receiver and S-bus. Now, again, eventually down in here after 4.1, or at 4.1, we're going to have the DJI HDL protocol that we could use, which is actually going to give us what they say the maximum amount of latency or the minimum amount of latency, the maximum amount of performance that DJI can provide. So that'll be their own protocol going forward. Until now, we're just going to use the S Plus protocol. And really, that's about it from a Betaflight configuration. I added craft name, DJI HD FPV, and that's it, guys. All right, let's talk weight. On the left, we have the Marmotte, the build you just saw. On the right, you have the Bandolero, the BQE Bandolero. This is one of my 2 that I built exactly the same. This has individual ESCs. It has the Foxeer Predator camera, the Evo, and the Nano with an Axie stubby in the back. So on the left, dry weight, 427 grams, Bandolero 410. With a battery on the Marmotte, 619 grams. Again, Bando's 602. Fully loaded with GoPro, the DJI HD FPV unit. This is 738 grams, and this is 721 grams. So when you think about it, it is a 17-gram difference. Are they heavy? Yeah. But, you know, I've been flying this Bandolero for quite some time, and, you know, the flight characteristics of it is fantastic. I think I've got it tuned pretty well. Again, I'm getting better as a pilot, but, I like the way this flies. So is 17 grams different really going to make this, you know, all that bad? Once I throw the GoPro in it, and I start looking at some footage, and I'm going to fly it without the GoPro and just use the DVR in here, is 17 grams going to make the difference? I don't know. You know, I threw up all the numbers on the screen. You make your own decision. Is it too heavy? Is it not? Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you guys think. For now, I'm going to go out and rip the crap out of these things. See ya.
Face will never be the same. Flame, bold, you'll steal the sun. When the only weapon is your name, and they won't count if you don't aim. Good intentions hold us back. You should stand down.